How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. So, big win yesterday, 4-2. Aaron Judge not in the lineup, but Juan Soto returns as the DH. Stanton all gets the day off. Yankees play a little bit of small ball, win 4-2, and, away in Kansas City, not a difficult, not a really easy team to beat. They're a really solid team, the Royals, and, that was a nice win, but today we're going to talk about one of the more underappreciated players in the outfield. Maybe he's not underappreciated to some of you guys, but I feel like all the attention really goes towards Judge and Soto. So I want to give Alex Verdugo some flowers here. I want to give him some love, show him some respect and appreciation because he's been really good. Ryan, how you feeling about Verdugo? Before we dive into it, how you do today, my friend?
I'm doing great. As you mentioned, the Yankees are in a situation right now where they're playing good baseball. They're rolling. Obviously they just dropped the series to the Dodgers, but you can kind of write that off as you didn't have Juan Soto, right? You played a really close first game. Second game, you get the breaks being off you. Third game, you kind of handled the Dodgers there. But with Soto back in the lineup and looking healthy and good, that's really encouraging. And of course, getting away without Aaron Judge, in the lineup is huge. But Alex Verdugo, as you mentioned, has kind of been that underrated, under-discussed, under-talked about, third piece to that outfield equation. The Yankees obviously acquired him in the trade in this offseason. I don't think that Verdugo was a player that was considered a slam dunk success for the Yankees to acquire at first. I don't necessarily think, from just kind of going based off my memory, I don't think that he was a consensus this is just a really good pickup for the Yankees. They've, done a really good job of scouting and identifying players. And, shout out the Yankees again because they've seemingly done it again with Verdugo. He has a 115 WRC plus. He's hitting the ball a little bit harder than he did last year. Strikeout rates remain the same. Walk rates remain the same. It's not like he's, sacrificing anything to hit for a little more power. He's played, the big thing here is the excellent defense, right? Leads all of left fielders in defensive run saved at +8, has +2 outs above average, +4 fielding run value as a whole. This is one of the better left fielders in baseball. The Yankees have not gotten good production from left field. You can argue one of the biggest differences, without talking about Juan Soto, from the 2023 and 2024 Yankees is the fact they have a legitimate left fielder. So, Alex, I love what he's bringing to the table. I love the production we're getting out of him. I think this is a player who can really impact the Yankees for the foreseeable future. I'm saying for this year, excuse me. Unfortunately, he won't have, I think, the long-term stay here because he's a free agent, and obviously the Yankees have some financial complications with the impending free agency of Juan Soto and so on and so forth. But while he's here, Alex, how can you, right? How can you say anything other than this guy's just been a rock for this team? A little bit of a slow start, but ever since then has just consistently does his job, does everything you need him to do on the defensive side of the ball. He's just a really solid player, Alex. And I feel like last year, what this team lacked outside of having that star caliber player next to Aaron Judge is just having a bunch of solid players in their lineup.
Yeah, look, the Yankees have more than enough solid players in their lineup. Even Gleyber Torres is starting to trend in a much better direction. And look, Verdugo has been kind of that one-size-fits-all player for the Yankees. They've used him around the lineup, whether it be 6 or 5 or 4 or 2. The guy has showed up and produced, man. He had 2 hits the other day where Soto was supposed to be, obviously was missing some time with the left forearm injury. And then, you kind of look at what he did yesterday. They put him in cleanup. And look, Verdugo's not a slugger, right? He's not a slugger. In fact, he's like one of the worst sluggers on the team. But here's something interesting, Ryan. He's on pace to have a career year in terms of home runs. He's on pace to hit over, 16 home runs, maybe closer to 20 this season. He's already at, 7, I believe. So, or rather 8. He's at 8. So he's played 65 games, over the course of a 162-game season. He actually may get close to 20 home runs this year, and his career high is 13. So not only is he hitting with more power than he ever has in terms of actually lofting the baseball and getting it out of the park, but he's also hitting for contact too, 265 average. That's not bad. He's hit 280, 289, 308 even in 2020. So, he's been better in years past, but, he's compromising a little bit with a little bit more loft to the ball. And I think that his on-base percentage at 320 could use a little bit more support, but, he's for the most part a solid player. 115 WRC plus indicates he's 15% better than the average MLB hitter. And I'll tell you what, I'm okay with that. 115 WRC plus from our left fielder in Alex Verdugo right now, I'm good with that. Why? Because think about what we had last year. Aaron Hicks, I don't even think is on a team right now. If he is, he's benched somewhere. You look at Jake Bowers. You look at, Billy McKinney. Some of these guys are even on rosters. So I'm really happy to see a guy like Verdugo, you acquire him, you give some pitchers in exchange. I don't think any of the guys that we gave up are anything special, like Greg Weiser, players like that. We'll see what happens, but I don't think he's been of anything of much of quality for Boston this season. So, you kind of look at what we gave up. Verdugo's been, pretty solid value. If the Yankees win a World Series, it looked like one of their better moves in a long time, alongside Soto, of course. But, the comparison between what Verdugo is doing now compared to what we had last year, it's night and day. It's apples to oranges. So you love to see that. But talking about his defense, Ryan, you referenced it. What, he has 9 defensive runs saved. He leads all left fielders in baseball right now. He has a perfect fielding percentage. By the way, the Yankees have 3 players. Actually, sorry, not just 3 players. Their entire starting outfield has perfect fielding percentages in the outfield this year. Is that not crazy? Like, they all have 1.000 fielding percentages. I was looking at it this morning and I'm like, that's interesting. Like, that's pretty impressive. Judge, Soto, and Verdugo all have perfect fielding percentages. Not to mention Soto's been above average slightly defensively in right field, and of course you have Judge, who's been solid in center. They've been very, very quietly good defensively in the outfield, despite the fact that was considered a liability going into the season. Judge at center field was always like, all right, we can survive with that. He's good enough. Soto's always been like he's a awful defensive player, and Verdugo's been a solid defensive player for the most part. Is that surprising to you to see that their defense has been better than advertised, better than expected really going into the year, especially Verdugo being one of the best left fielders in the game right now?
Yeah, I think, defense was a concern mainly, I think, because of Judge and center, right? And as you mentioned, Soto in right field was definitely a concern. But I think we both talked about, like, Soto in right field in Yankee Stadium looked like it would be a good fit, and that was on paper. And, in practice, it's been a great fit. The Yankees, very quietly, in terms of fielding run value, lead all of baseball. They're the best defensive team in baseball. Isn't that crazy, right? Like, that's a crazy sentence. I know that some people are going to push back and say, well, the eye test says... Respectfully, all due respect, right? I don't really care what your eye test tells you. I look at the data, I look at my eye test, right? Like, we can all have different opinions, but they're objectively a very good defensive team, and the outfield leads that. I think that's a big reason why some of their pitchers have been able to get by without striking out as many batters. It's just a really damn good defensive team, and as they improve the quality of their team when they get Garrett Cole back, they maybe improve at first base or third base or second base, which I will say this, LeMahieu is interesting because he's such a good defender, right? Like, I can live with him hitting 9th on this team. I think you just have to you're either going to have to find 2, like, I think you just got to find 1 really good infielder, and you can move DJ to first. I'd prefer him at third. I think he's the best defensive third baseman on this team. Alex, I think I'm willing to say you just need to find a first baseman, right? Like, I think that's really where I'm at. You just need to find a first baseman. If you can do that, that's great. Ideally, that's what you can do. If you have to move DJ to first, that's fine. That play he made yesterday, Alex, oh my God, right? Like, that is... chef's kiss. That's a beautiful play. As you mentioned, Gleyber's been doing better. If you kind of look back at the Verdugo trade, they were able to trade for Verdugo because they traded 3 players who they didn't draft any earlier than like the 6th or 7th round. Like, that's pretty crazy. Now, Fitz, Richard Fitz is a solid pitching prospect. He's not gonna, I don't think he's gonna win a Cy Young or anything like that, but he's okay. Greg Weiser, like, his ERA is good, that's great, but like his win probability added is bad. Like, in terms of high leverage situations, he usually comes up short. So, not really hurting about not having him on this roster. And then Nicholas Judas is a reliever prospect who was just drafted, so it's not like I'm really kicking rocks over him. And again, like, the Yankees, I mean, look at Michael Tonkin, right? Like, the Yankees can find guys. It is a crazy stat. The Yankees have like a 2.01 ERA combined between Cody Poteet, Luke Weaver, and Michael Tonkin with like a 24.6% strikeout rate. Yeah, I think they're fine at finding guys to supplement some of their bullpen issues. And then kind of tying it all back to Verdugo, just him being the best defensive left fielder in baseball. It's so nice to like see a ball hit to left field that I'm like, that ball's gonna get caught. That ball's getting caught. Like, there are so many times last year. You mentioned like the Hicks, Bowers, McKinney thing. Hicks got DFA'd by the Angels, the Los Angeles Angels. Like, not the Baltimore Orioles where he was last year. The LA Angels, they suck. He got DFA'd. I don't think he's on a team. Jake Bowers, he's a first baseman exclusively on the Brewers. They do not let him play the outfield because he's not an outfielder. As you mentioned, I don't even know what Billy McKinney is, man. Like, I wasn't even like a Billy McKinney hater. Like, I didn't dislike him. He seems like a cool guy. I just genuinely have no idea where he is. I hope he's okay. Does he play? Like, he was on the Pirates. He plays for them in AAA. He has 96 WRC plus in AAA. So, just kind of shrug your shoulders, right? You have Jason Dominguez waiting for you in the wings, and Jason Dominguez is just like, he's abusing pitchers in AAA. He's slapping dudes around. I've heard some really good things about him down there. He is just, I mean, good God, Alex, like that guy can fucking play baseball. But Alex Verdugo, like everyone talks about like Dominguez coming up and like, oh, you gotta like figure it out. Verdugo's not in the conversation for who you move out for Dominguez. He's not. He's firmly, him, Soto, and Judge are not in that conversation. They're not. You can't talk about Alex Verdugo getting moved out of the starting lineup. He's too good defensively. He's too important offensively. The skills he brings to the table, good contact, good power. He's a well-rounded hitter. You just can't take him out of your lineup. Now, does that kind of point the magnifying glass right on Giancarlo Stanton? Yes. Yes, it does. But Alex Verdugo, he's been so good for this team. You can't say enough good things about him.
Really can't. And look, like you said, even when you talk about Jason Dominguez being called up, you just can't talk about any of those starting three players being moved because Verdugo has, like I said, kind of a one-size-fits-all. You put him anywhere in the lineup and he produces. You know, sometimes you move a guy from 2 to 4 or 1 to 7, and they struggle. They, you know, we've seen it happen with Volpe, we've seen it happen with other guys. But wherever the Yankees put Verdugo, he doesn't give a crap. He just freaking bangs baseballs, and like you love that about him. You love that kind of versatility and that diversity he can offer you in the lineup. And you know, looking at what the Yankees are doing right now, giving some guys days off, I do think that there is a world where DJ LeMahieu ends up playing a lot more first base than we previously thought going into the season. We thought Rizzo would kind of bounce back and be fine. Obviously, that's not the case. They've kind of benched him a little bit. They're giving him days, like not just one day, but multiple days off. Like. I wouldn't go as far to say it's benching, but I'd go as far as to say as they're trying to figure out a way to knock the cold streak out of him, whether it be just giving him a couple days to rest and just kind of like not let the previous night's flaws and gaffes, reminisce in a way. So I kind of feel like they're trying to just give him some time to reset. And that's a good idea because they've tried everything with the guy. I do think that DJ at first base is very good defensively, and offensively he's starting to pick things up. There's a world where the Yankees say to themselves, we get Lou Trevino and Scott Efros back at the deadline. We feel good about our bullpen. Michael Tonkin's been like freaking like the Mets, man. Like they really screwed that one up, and the Twins too. So they found a gem there. There's a very real situation where the Yankees go to the trade deadline and say, we want a third baseman. We want a starting World Series caliber third baseman. I don't know who that is. You know, it could be a Ryan McMahon. I don't think the Rockies are going to trade him. He's also like, this is his best year. And you might regress. He's under contract. You maybe don't want to go down that route. We'll see what happens here. Maybe the Yankees feel comfortable with what they have. I don't think I necessarily do. But, you know, Ryan, if you had to bet on it right now, are you thinking that you might see more DJ at first base, or do you think Rizzo turns it around, or do you think the Yankees are going to be aggressive trying to find another infielder to help support them? I think Torres is situated at second base, but I can see them going after a third baseman if there is one available, and that might be optimistic.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's probably first base. And again, for all the people who said, the clubhouse, 2-0, 2-0 without Rizzo in the lineup. So if the clubhouse is so dead, I mean, Jahmai Jones out in right field, chopping it up with Trent Grisham. They're having the blast. You know, if the clubhouse is so screwed when Anthony Rizzo is not in the starting lineup, like I don't know what the last two games are. Then that must be a very miserable looking team then, because I don't know what to say. I think it's got to be first base. I feel like it's the easier position to get somebody at. You know, I feel like you can find guys there. Now, infield will be interesting. There's just not a lot of options. I know Luis Rengifo's kind of a name. He doesn't play great defense. That might be a little bit of concern, but he can hit. I'm going to just float this out there. Again, I think like Christian Walker, man, I don't hate the Arizona Diamondbacks. Like, I kind of like the Arizona Diamondbacks. I really hope they just go on a losing streak, man, because he would be so damn good. He would be perfect for this team. Alex, I mean, the fit, right? The glove, the defense, the bat. 127 WRC plus, 12 home runs already. Could you imagine this? We're just going to put this out there for everybody. Volpe, Soto, Judge, Verdugo, Walker, Dominguez, Torres, Trevino/Wells, LeMahieu. That's World Series. Like that's World Series, man. That's 1 through 9. Those are dogs, right? Those are just dogs up and down, man. You can't hit those. You can't stop those guys. Can't pitch these guys. These guys will beat up, bash, break in, like they'll take down anybody you want them to face. So, I'm sorry for that. I don't even know what that sound was, but I just like come on, Christian Walker, dude, like that would be match made in heaven. I just want, again, guys, the lineup: Volpe, Soto, Judge, Verdugo, or Dominguez. You want to switch Verdugo and Dominguez up in the lineup? I say Verdugo. Walker, Dominguez, Torres, catcher, I don't know who the catcher is, and then LeMahieu. Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect, Alex. It's so perfect.
Really is perfect. I'm excited. I know you guys are too. We got you guys updated on every day with the Yankee news. Lots of stuff going on. Maybe we'll do a little breakdown on Michael Tonkin tomorrow. Talk about how great he's been. I mean, we posted a graphic this morning comparing what he did on the Mets and what he did on the Yankees, and it's actually hysterical. But we can always have a good conversation. I know, Ryan, you always love talking about how great Matt Blake is, so that should be an easy one to have. But guys, always happy to hear thoughts down below in the YouTube comments. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. We'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.